I've had so many women reach out to me recently and say, I don't even know where to start anymore. And honestly, I get it because when you've tried all the diets and nothing works, and then Dr. Google's got 47 different answers for you, it's easier to just give up. But around here, we don't give up. I've got 5 simple steps for you that you can do right now that's going to get you started in the right direction because it's go time. I'm your host, Holly Bertone, and I'm excited about today's episode because I love a good plan. And I can't tell you how many women I've spoken with, and they've tried diet after diet after diet, and then one of two things always happens. Number one, they either lose the weight and then gain it right back, or number two, the diet doesn't work at all for them. And then to make matters worse, it is the wild, wild west out there with anything that's related to diet, nutrition, health, weight loss, anything like that. And especially all of the advice that everyone is saying, anything that you Google, anything that you find on Instagram, anywhere, it is contradictory. So how are you supposed to know what to do? And what I hear from women, they basically just say, I don't even know where to start anymore. And I completely agree because it is way too confusing. And how are you supposed to know what to do? And especially if you don't have a great track record to begin with. And then when you think about this from a neuroscience perspective, your brain perceives any kind of change as threat. There's the version of you that wants to change, who wants to lose weight, who wants to get healthier, who wants to eat healthier, who wants to work out, exercise more. But you're operating out of the version of you from the past. The version that says, I'm afraid of failing again. I'm afraid of losing face. So then anytime you even try to think about getting back into the ring, your brain's like, nope, been there, done that. And it's going to give you excuse after excuse after excuse. You're going to want to procrastinate. Oh, I'll just start after vacation. Or you're going to just sit there and be paralyzed in overwhelm and say things like, I don't even know where to start anymore. You see, we have one frame of reference to achieve success. And when you think about it from this perspective, think back to when you learned to drive a car or when you learned a sport or to play a musical instrument or even like nowadays, operating a smartphone. We didn't grow up with smartphones. So we had to figure out how to operate a smartphone for the first time. Okay. The path from point A to point B, it is predictable and it's pretty linear. You practice, you practice, you practice, and then you're going to get better. But losing weight, getting healthier, getting back into shape, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't follow the same logic and it doesn't follow the same pattern. So let's start thinking about this from a different perspective. And today I'm going to answer that $1,000,000 question, where do I even start? These 5 steps are the first steps you're going to want to take if you're looking to achieve healthy and sustainable results. And step five is probably going to make you roll your eyes, but it's the one that's going to be the biggest needle mover for you. So let's jump into number 1. Now, I am going to warn you, the first step is going to make you cringe. Seriously, but I have to say it because it's important. So listen up and cringe away. Step number 1, what is your why? Now, Stephen Covey said it best, and he was my gateway drug back in the mid-90s in terms of personal development. But I love to begin with the end in mind. And here's what this looks like for you. Do you want to lose weight by any means necessary? Or do you want to fuel your body for energy, for metabolic health, for better sleep, for better metabolism, for longevity? From watching the behavior of the women who I coach, I found that there's 2 levels of commitment. There's that initial catalyst. It's an event that's coming up, or a milestone birthday, or a health diagnosis, or a friend passes away, or even just looking at an unflattering photo. And that's the first commitment. I have to get healthier because ... But then comes that second layer of commitment. This is your why. This is more than a commitment. This is the desire to become that healthier version of yourself. This is change at the identity level. This is when you stop dreading the diet and when you start rebelling against the diet industry that has kept you stuck in this pattern. This is when you go from chasing skinny to claiming strength and claiming sustainability. And here's something a little controversial. Your why should actually scare you a little bit. Not because it's extreme, but because it's honest. This is what makes it so powerful enough. So when you have those rough days, you're going to get through it. I had someone reach out to me the other day, and she had listened to one of my podcast episodes, and she just expressed her appreciation to me. And when I was first reading, I was like, oh, shoot, because she was like, your interview struck a nerve with me. But what she continued to say was that it helped her to reflect on something that she didn't even know was there. And quite honestly, I mean, that's my goal. I'm not here to be mean. I'm here to be an effective coach. Because if you're in a place where you are ready to receive my message, and I mean receive it, not just listen to the episodes and feel good because you listened, because you got some good information. I mean, actually receive it. You're probably going to get a little triggered with some of the things that I say, because I'm literally holding up that mirror for you to see yourself for the first time in a completely different light. My students, my clients, they joke that I could be spicy Holly, but they love it. They actually ask for it because they know spicy Holly is effective. But I'm also here as compassionate Holly because I know how hard it is to pick yourself up again and again and again and to take those steps forward. Back when I was a junior in college, I had my mind absolutely set on the internship that I wanted. Now, it was 1991. So remember, no internet back then. And I went to a small school called Elizabethtown College, go Blue Jays, and it was about 10 miles away from Hershey, Pennsylvania, as in Hershey candy bars. Now, I worked at Hershey Park all throughout college, and I wanted to work for Hershey Foods when I graduated. So I was laser focused on getting an internship at the Reese's plant where they made Reese's cups and Kit Kats. Now, I knew that everyone was chasing after the jobs at the Hershey plant, at the main Hershey plant. So my thought was, if I can get my foot in the door at the Reese's plant, that's going to be my backdoor foot in the door. So I mailed my resume. Crickets. I drove over to the plant. I asked to speak with the HR manager. Crickets. I waited a few days. I drove over again. Crickets. Repeat, until one day she finally came out into the lobby, and I'm sure she was like, who is this random college kid is stalking her? Well, I told her that I wanted an internship, and I was like, I am going to be the hardest worker you've ever had. And she told me, she's like, I don't have any open positions, and I also don't have any money to pay you. So I countered with, yeah, that's okay. I just want the experience. I'll work for free. She's like, okay, I don't have any open positions. So then I countered with, I was like, I'm sure there's a bunch of grunt work that you have that no one wants to do. I don't care what it is. I will do it, and I'm going to do it 10 times better than anyone else. And I'm guessing she just had pity on me. I don't know. Maybe she saw a young and ambitious college kid, but whatever the reason, she actually gave me a break. So yes, I did the grunt work. But as I was doing the grunt work and I'm walking around the plant and I'm talking to some of the employees, and I started to notice some trends, some really important trends, actually. So I went back to the HR manager and I explained the trends that I saw. And I told her, I said, I'm starting to see a pattern. I said, I would love to do a pattern analysis for the entire plant to see if my hypothesis is true, to see what we come up with. She did not know what to do with me. But she agreed. I don't know why. I don't know why she kept me around. She probably thought I was crazy, but she agreed. So the next thing I knew, I got this huge blueprint of the plant, and I tacked it up on the wall. And then I got a box of colored push pins, and I went through all of the OSHA records. And what I did, record by record, and we're talking file folders back then, right? I took the incidents and the accidents, and then I took those color-coded push pins and I color-coded the incidents and the accidents on the blueprint on the wall. And I started to see clusters and patterns form. And my hypothesis was true. So I went to that specific area of the plant and I interviewed the employees on just what's going on. Like, why are all of these accidents happening in your area? And then each cluster had these common themes and these common complaints. So the accidents were common in clusters, and then the themes and the complaints of why they think the accidents were happening were also common. And then I asked the employees, I'm like, well, how would you fix it? Because I mean, hello, they're going to be the best ones to figure it out. So I was like, how are you going to fix it? How are you going to remedy the situation? So I wrote up the report and I had like the clusters of the accidents, and then I had the suggested remedies that the employees gave me. And a lot of the fixes, they didn't even cost a lot of money. Well, the reason I'm sharing this story with you, aside from the fact that, yes, I was like the craziest intern that the Reese's plant ever had, the reason that I'm sharing this with you is that first layer of the why was just to get the internship. I just wanted that bullet point on my resume. But that second layer, that was long term. That was me playing chess instead of checkers. Because it wasn't just to get my foot in the door. I wanted to become so memorable that they were going to hire me when I graduated. Which ended up not happening because life had better plans, but you get the point. The diet dreader wants the scale to move. The diet rebel wants her life to move. Step number 2, create a plan. Those who fail to plan to fail. So you're going to build this on top of your why. Think about it. Who are the coaches? Who are the nutritionists who you follow? What do they look like? What do they teach? And do they have what you want? I've had so many conversations with my peers in the industry, and everyone agrees that if you're going to look at change in terms of getting healthy, losing weight, exercising, eating better, all the things, look at it in a package of an entire year. So this is just going to eliminate the quick fix. It is going to help you actually create a legitimate strategy for your optimal metabolic health and longevity. And it's not about just having a plan, because all diets follow some kind of plan and 92% of diets fail. So you've got a plan, which is needed, but then you're also going to have a daily strategy. You're going to want habits and behaviors and then actions. And then on top of that, you're going to want a system to follow, because day to day, things aren't always going to go your way. So the plan is what you write down. That's the plan. Then you've got the strategy, how you respond when that plan fails apart. And then the system is what you return to again and again until it actually becomes second nature. Everyone quits their diet when one of these two things happen. Either the diet or the exercise gets difficult, or there's a situation that happens, a rainy day, running late, boss made you stay late at work, whatever, and the situation makes it difficult to do the diet or the exercise. That's it. So you're going to need a system that is something that you can repeat day in and day out, something that is going to keep you consistent. Okay. And then we want it to operate like a decision tree. If this, then that. If this, then that. So if this happens in my day, instead of just like, oh, everything's ruined, you're like, I'll just start over tomorrow. Or, my default might be to do another thing. So for example, if I'm exhausted after work and I'm tempted to order takeout, I'm going to have a meal in the freezer ahead of time. I'm actually going to plan that in advance. Or if I miss a workout, I'm just going to go for a walk that day instead of just saying, oh, my day is ruined. Or if I feel triggered and stressed and want to reach for the comfort food, I'm just going to pause for 60 seconds, 90 seconds before eating anything. So this isn't about perfection. It's about pattern interruption. It's lather, rinse, repeat. All right, obviously the last few episodes I've been sharing Friends stories. So yeah, guess what I'm binging right now? So you remember the Friends episode, and Rachel said, maybe I don't have a plan right now, but at least I'm not doing nothing. And then Rachel's line was just comedic gold. And she was like, I don't even have a plot. Well, you need a plot and you need a plan. Okay, in the FBI and the military, you never assume that your target is going to act predictably. So you need to have this plan for what do you do when they don't follow the script. And as a project manager, as a PMP, I love a good plan and I love a good plot. Plot. But the plan is always better. And your brain is the same. It's not weak when it breaks the plan. It's just completely normal. So your job is to make the new behavior easier than the old one. Here's the kicker. If you dread it, you're not going to do it. And it's going to be so much easier to quit. And that's what the diet dreader does. She dreads the diet and then she quits. You know what lights you up. So plan for it, build it into your life because you're not on a diet. You're creating a healthy and sustainable lifestyle. Step number 3, create a budget. Now, the budget has nothing to do with food or calories or meal planning or even the cost of groceries. You're gonna budget for the lessons. You can either call it failure if you want, or you can call them lessons. Remember what I talked about before? Where does everyone quit? It's at the exact same spot. You see, every transformation, it is going to come at a cost. Expect it to be hard at times. Expect it to push your limits. Expect it to shake you to the core because that's how real growth happens. We are literally undoing decades of old patterns and beliefs and this sludge. So yeah, you're going to feel it coming out of your body. You're going to feel down about yourself. You're going to beat yourself up because you're not seeing results fast enough. You're going to want to stay in bed. You're not going to want to work out. You're going to want to reach for the ice cream after a hard day. This is all going to happen and it is all very normal. Not getting it right all of the time is just a part of the process because no one is going to do this perfectly. And then this is also about creating a budget of neutrality, to view the scale as just data. It is just information. It is not the morality police of whether you're being good or bad. I mean, think about it. You wouldn't say, if it's raining, I'm a failure. You would just say, if it's raining, I'm just going to grab an umbrella. So budget for the crappy days. Take the umbrella when there's a chance for rain. Budget for the setbacks. Budget for the failures. I don't want to do it. It's going to happen. And then use what you learn as data. And then pick yourself right back up and keep doing your thing. Step number 4, create safety. If you want food to feel safe instead of obsessive, start building a relationship with yourself before you can even worry about the calories. Go back and listen to last week's episode. It's called The Secrets You're Keeping and How You're Eating Them Alive. And it's all about the shame and the secrets. It was probably one of the best episodes I've ever done. Because food feels safe. It brings certainty, it's control, it's got that hit of dopamine. And then you've got life and life's being chaotic. So your brain's only job, your brain wants to bring you back into homeostasis. And even if that safety, even if that homeostasis means diving face first into Chick-fil-A waffle fries. Harvard research shows that emotional safety is a prerequisite to behavior change. So if your nervous system is in fight or flight, your prefrontal cortex, which is your rational brain, it just goes offline. And that's why you know the difference between healthy food and junk food. You know diving into a pile of cookies is probably not the smartest idea, but you do it anyway. My stepson is 22 now, and I've raised him since he was 5. One of my favorite things to do when he was growing up was to introduce him to different TV shows and movies as he got older. So we're talking, Wizard of Oz, and then The Simpsons, and then Austin Powers, and then South Park. And I understood his sense of humor. I knew the type of shows that he would just absolutely love. But every single time, I'm like, hey, Aiden, I've got a new show for you to watch. You're going to love it. And then every single time he's got that teen boy angst thing going on. This is stupid. I hate this. This is boring. And the next thing I know, he is captivated. I mean, a bomb could have gone off in that living room and he wouldn't have even noticed. And I'm sharing this with you because we're all a little bit like that. We get that angsty hormonal teenage thing going on. when we're faced with change. Because we say we want the results, but the second that something is new or unfamiliar, we just shut down because we want safe and we want predictable. But your future self, the one who you truly want to be, she's out there. She's queuing up a new season. She's queuing up a new movie to watch. And this is the difference between just dabbling and like, oh, I want to change, and you're just dabbling in it, and actually becoming someone who owns that change. So build that safety like you build your habits. Make that safety daily, make it deliberate, and do it without apology. Step number 5, build the machine. This is where you are going to future-proof your results. When the women I work with, when they first come to me, they think it's about food, they think it's about calories, they think it's about macros. And I love sometimes they'll finish up a coaching call and they'll be like, wait a second. We didn't even talk about food. It's like, yeah, because your body doesn't speak to you in English. Your body speaks to you in physical symptoms and emotions, in how clear your mind is to think, how much energy you have, how well you sleep, how reactive you are, how agitated you are. That's how your body speaks to you. And what you eat, it is not the symptom, it's the cause. You see, traditional diet culture, it tells you focus on the food, focus on the food, focus on the calories, focus on the macros, focus on the food, which is another reason why 92% of diets fail. Because if you want to get to the other side, it is about what is underneath. It's addressing the behaviors, the beliefs, the patterns, the triggers, the emotions. You know the phrase junk in, junk out, right? Well, okay, hard truth. Junk in, junk out is exactly what got you to where you are. When you fuel your body like a beat up 89 Dodge Dart with a cracked windshield and a cassette stuck on repeat, I would walk 500 miles. Don't be surprised when you're sputtering through your day and you're literally running on caffeine and cravings and cortisol. But when you fuel your body like a Porsche, it is going to drive like a Porsche. Your body is a high performance machine, but only when you treat it like one. So don't be a Dodge Dart, be a Porsche, be a machine. And here's how. Okay, M, and it's an acronym, MACHINE. So M is your meaning and purpose. This is your rebel fuel. A woman on a mission does not need a diet to motivate her. She has this vision. Step 1, remember the why. That's the vision that pulls her. A, your associates, spiritual and social. You become the average of the 5 people who you surround yourself with. So surround yourself with the people who aren't going to force you in quotes, to emotionally eat. Surround yourself with the people who are going to challenge those old patterns, who are going to help you speak your new truth. Because your brain is going to sync up with those who you're around. This is neuroscience. C is common inner stillness. Chaos creates cravings. Stillness creates space. And that space, that's where the new ideas and the creativity is born. H is for hibernation. This is your sleep. Sleep isn't just rest. This is recovery. This is when your brain rewires those new patterns as you sleep. So if you don't get enough sleep, if you don't get enough good quality sleep, what happens the next day? Your default, comfort food, survival eating. I is for ingredients, which is your food. And I'm not talking chemicals and boxes. I'm talking real food. The body fuels itself with food. Crappy ingredients are going to give you the Dodge Dart. Nutritious food is going to give you the portion. N is time and nature. You were not meant to be a fluorescent light cubicle dweller 24/7. So get outside, hug a tree, get some vitamin sunshine on your face without sunglasses. Let your nervous system recalibrate. And then E. E is your exercise and your daily movement. This is not for punishment. Movement is life. You're not doing this to burn calories. You are doing this to burn the past. And you might be thinking, oh goodness, Holly, seriously? The basics are so boring. And I mean, yeah, the basics can be boring, but the basics work. because they create the machine. What do you think Michael Jordan does every day, or Tiger Woods, or Simone Biles, or Tom Brady? How do you think they achieve the GOAT status? It's because they practice the basics every single day. And again, yeah, the basics can be boring, but the basics work for a reason. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. I want you to prove me wrong. If you're rolling your eyes and you're like, oh God, Holly, the basics, prove me wrong. I want you to go find 3 or 4 people who you know who have their health dialed in. Like they're someone you would say has a legitimate healthy lifestyle that is sustainable, not like the up and down and all over the place. And I want you to ask them exactly what they do on a daily basis to achieve a healthy, sustainable life. Or better yet, give them a list of those 10 core life needs, the machine. Ask them how many of them they would rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 10. Find out how many they would rate themselves at a 7 or 8 or above. Go do it. Go do it. And then let me know what you find out. Let me know what they said. Prove me wrong. Come tell me about it. So I can get on a future episode and eat crow. Like I double dog dare you. Because I know it works. Like we can argue all day over semantics like, vegan or carnivore, intermittent fasting. Is it harmful or is it helpful? But those 7 basics, they are always going to be the basics for a reason. The basics are going to fuel your body like a Porsche. So build the machine and then optimize it. So now you know where do you start. You've got your 5 steps. Step 1, what is your why? Step 2, create a plan. Step 3, create a budget. Step 4, create safety. And then step 5, build the machine. And I have to say, it was fun to go back to my roots as a project manager, as a PMP health coach edition. So do me a favor, let me know which one of these steps you're at right now. Love to chat with you, love to do some brainstorming with you and help you with your PLA or plan or strategy. And now that you know the 5 steps to get you started, you might be thinking, yeah, but Holly, I'm good most of the time, but there's days that I am just annoyed at the world and I just want to eat an entire half gallon of ice cream. And that, my friend, is exactly what we're diving into next week. So hit that follow button so you don't miss it. So thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next week.